Okay, so Salam Zain bhai, what's your controversial call?
By Islam, here I have two things that I strongly believe in. One, I think Pakistani men need, not even need, Pakistani men deserve better role models because this alpha-ness, I don't think it's leading us towards the right, path. And my second opinion or my second controversial, call is that Pakistani women, irrespective of what social strata they belong on, they all deserve financial literacy. And this goes from our grandmothers to the person who works in our kitchen, our house help. They all deserve financial literacy because, even if you're coming from a business family, at times the women of those families, they know little to nothing about what's going on in the financial, health of their partners or their brothers or their fathers or their, sons. So yeah.
And I think most women, the most amount of relationship they have with with a bank or any financial institution is अंगूठा या thumbprint लगाने के जाती सिर्फ या वो भी पेपर तो घर भी आ जाता है. That's the only amount where women interact with financial institutions at a majority case.
I think we've also limited them, to कमेटी डाल लें या गोल्ड की ज्वेलरी बना लें जो आपकी सिक्योरिटी कर देगी after a certain age. But what we need actually in life is that they know all the financial systems available, even the upcoming ones, even the new ones. Okay, I think that is where we actually need to focus our attention on and make it happen here. Population wise, आप देख लें हमारी मतलब एक huge chunk of our population is women. And if you're not giving them financial literacy for God knows what reasons, आप आधे मुल्क को पीछे कर रहे हैं. मतलब अगली आने वाली जनरेशन को भी पीछे कर रहे हैं because they're gonna become mothers.
Acha, I also want to touch on the second point. Who you said that men deserve or men need to have better role models. Who are better role models?
I think when you talk of role models, हमारे यहाँ role model सिर्फ उस शख्स को समझा जाता है in let's say the last 10 or 20 years has made a certain number of money. He has a certain amount in his bank. Jabki role models should be coming from like a lot of areas. There are role models. Some teachers are role models. Some scientists are role models. Some actors or models can be role models. They primarily might not have achieved a certain level of financial success, but they are successful people in life. They are successful people in other areas of life, even religious scholars. Some of them are brilliant people, but they might not be, the ones who are particularly famous because they come from a certain smaller background. And when I'm saying smaller, I mean it in the financial sense. So maybe what I'm trying to say is that keeping your entire attention on making somebody your role model just because they are a certain millionaire or billionaire or they seem to have their for a lack of a better word life sorted online is not the way to go. Because what happens is that you are falling for whatever that person is projecting. Their personal life might be very different. Their financial health might be very different. So you need to understand that our men they need to move beyond the alpha-ness. Yes, fine. You should work on your body, but then you should work on your soul as well. You should work on your mental health as well. You should work on the well-being of your family and friends as well. चाहे कोयटा होटल में बैठ के कर लो यार कोई महंगा काम कर बोल रहा but like be more open and more accepting human beings.
मुझे इससे एक चीज याद आई. I was watching this film critiques video or something, and he was critiquing on the industry across the globe. और उसने बोला यार, we shouldn't make biopics on people who are still alive because they might fuck up in their life later on. That's आपने बिल्कुल वो रिमाइंडर दिया. So fair, that's that. And I think what you talked about financial literacy, yes, our women who choose to stay at home or aren't in the workforce should at least be given some amount of literacy, should know their financial ins and outs of their families. Take Nauzubillah, they're not stranded, they're not dumbfounded.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, Zubila, if something happens to the patriarch, for lack of a better word, of your family. Uh, there are times and there are experiences where I've seen it from from a personal experience that the patriarch might have been somebody who's very rich, but once that portfolio had passed on, the women of the family had no idea what to do. What to do with the accounts, what to do with the properties, कौन सी चीज कहाँ पड़ी है, क्या था, कुछ भी नहीं पता. You're lost. So, for your own security, yeah, for whatever legacy you build, you should include, the women of your family in your financial health and your uh, and make them financially literate enough ताकि वो at least अपने affairs को handle कर सकें.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's good enough to have this people start talking. Jazakallah.